Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nor Quran. The rain had been falling for hours, soft but unrelenting, like the grief that had quietly made a home in his chest. In the silence of his apartment, where once laughter echoed and life had a rhythm, there now lingered only the hum of regret and the ticking of a clock that no longer mattered to him. He sat by the window, staring into the gray sky, eyes heavy with years of choices he wished he could undo. His name was Amin, but he hadn't heard it whispered with love in years. Not since his mother passed, and not since he'd turned away from everything she taught him. Amin had once been a boy who ran to the masjid for Maghrib, whose small hands raised in innocent dua, asking for candy, for sunshine, for Jannah. But life happened, or perhaps, more accurately, he allowed life to happen to him. College came with its temptations, then work, then money, then sin, then arrogance. Salah became a burden. Quran gathered dust. He no longer cried in sujud, he barely remembered how to make it. He told himself he was too busy, too modern, too complicated for the simplicity of faith. But deep inside, a flicker always remained, buried, but never dead. It wasn't until the night he got the call, the kind of call that feels like your heart is being yanked from your chest, that something shattered inside. His younger brother, only 19, gone in a car accident. Just like that, a boy full of life, full of dreams, whose lips always moved with dhikr, who always reminded Amin, bro, Allah hasn't forgotten you, you just keep walking away. He used to laugh it off. But now, those words burned in his ears. He flew home for the janazah. He watched his father, silent and broken. He saw his mother's grave next to his brother's, and for the first time in years, he felt the kind of pain that makes a man fall to his knees. He didn't even realize he was crying until his hands were soaked with tears. The imam at the funeral spoke words that pierced like arrows. This is your wake-up call. Allah is calling his chosen back. Don't wait until it's you lying in that grave. Amin couldn't sleep that night. He walked to the masjid before Fajr, the same masjid he used to go to as a child. The doors were open. The carpets still smelled like old books and warm earth. The lights were dim, but the tranquility, it wrapped around him like a mother's embrace. He stood at the back, watching the few men make their way in, watching the imam set up the microphone, hearing the faint adhan rise into the dawn. Something cracked open in him. He prayed Fajr for the first time in years. He didn't remember all the surahs, but he bowed, he prostrated, and he wept. He wept like a child who had lost his way home and finally found the door unlocked. He stayed in sujud for what felt like forever. No words came out of his mouth, just sobs, just apologies, just pain pouring out of a soul that had been silent too long. And then, something else, a whisper of hope. A whisper that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late. That day marked the beginning of his return. It wasn't instant. He stumbled, he faltered, but he never let go again. He deleted old contacts, walked away from the toxic money, picked up the Quran again. It felt foreign at first, like meeting an old friend after years apart, unsure what to say. But slowly, the words began to soften his heart. He took small steps, 2 rakahs at a time, a dhikr after every salah, a tear in every dua. He began to feel again. Not the numbness he had grown used to, but real feelings, gratitude, guilt, awe, love. He spoke to Allah at night like a man who had finally found the one who was always listening. He learned that Tawbah wasn't about never having sinned, it was about breaking before your Lord. And choosing him again, and again, and again. Years later, Amin would stand on the same masjid steps and give a short talk after Isha. He'd tell the youth, your sins don't make you distant from Allah. It's your giving up that does. He is closer to you than your jugular vein. And the door, it never closed. You did. Just knock again. He's waiting. And before he would leave, he'd quote a verse that once saved him in his darkest hour, one he found when he opened the Quran one random night, seeking a sign. Say, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves by sinning, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful. Surah Az-Zumar 39:53. And then he would smile, the kind of smile only those who were lost and then found could ever understand.